I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're talking to Tambi Harwood about her amazing book, I Am Not the Moon Lake Camp Killer. It delves into a gripping tale of a 17-year-old named Liam and his friends who unearth unexpected powers after a meteor discovery at a summer camp, only to be ensnared in a chilling murder mystery perpetrated by a shape-shifting alien and a complicated twist of time travel. We're delighted to have Tambi join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the folks at Authors Reputation Press for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like her by subscribing to our channel. Tambi, thank you so much for joining us here today. I got you right in the middle of your shot of vodka. So, no,
No,
it's water. It's
it's Starbucks. It's a matcha.
okay. Looks
A lot.
good. I'm
Okay.
jealous. I've got my vodka in a to-go coffee cup here, so we're even. Loved your book. Super imaginative, super engaging, dreamy with the setting of a summer camp. I can just picture a kid scared out of his mind and enthralled by all of this. Let's first talk about your concept of quantic powers. Tell us a little bit about this concept. I believe you coined, right?
I guess I did. Yeah, but it's, based on quantum mechanics. So, um, it's I don't know how much quantum mechanics, which is the uh quantum physics.
Right. But these are different than superpowers, these quantic powers. Tell the folks at home what the quantic powers are.
Well, the kids have different quantic powers. So our main character, Liam, his power is self-healing, and self-healing allows him also, it heals time, so he doesn't grow old. He stays the same age, so he's immortal. That's Liam. His power is that he can heal from anything and he's immortal.
Mm,
uh, which becomes interesting, if you know 300 years, it's not interesting if we're just talking about today, but if
right.
we're talking about 300 years, then it becomes interesting.
Could be problematic even. All your friends and family and loved ones have passed
Yes,
away, and you're
true,
still
true,
there with your quantic
true.
power of self-healing and eternal youth. So be careful what you wish for, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. I gave a little bit of an overview of the book. Why don't you fill in the gaps a little bit more to tell the folks at home what the book is about?
So, um Liam, who's 17, and he discovers this power with his friends. Yes, they discover it at a summer camp. We don't spend too much time at the summer camp, except that what happens is there's a mass killing that happens at the summer camp. Like 12 campers get killed, and he ends up getting blamed for it.
Mm,
And so the book get starts out, even though the killing has already happened, it starts out with him getting put in jail
mm,
for the killing of his campers.
mm,
um he gets put in jail, and I know what it is. His future self, because he is immortal and can live for
mhm.
his future self from 300 years in the future, has traveled back in time to kill him so that they wouldn't let the whole um
Episode unfold as it did, right? With the murder
yes,
and the
yes,
camp
yes.
killings and all of that. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. But he didn't actually do it. There was a shape-shifting alien that did the killing, and he in the future has taken over the world. And so
Mm,
they figured out in the future that if they wanted to get rid of this guy who's taken over the world, to go back in time and kill him before he became immortal. That's why he ends up going back in time to kill Liam, so
gotcha.
that he doesn't end up giving his powers of immortality to this shape-shifting alien.
Shape-shifting alien. And describe the shape-shifting alien a little bit more for the folks at home who haven't read the book
Um,
about
uh,
his powers and how he
well,
uses
his
his special abilities.
main power is that he can take other people's powers. So
Mm,
if he can take other people's powers, he can do, I mean, whatever.
right.
Um, yeah. So he takes Liam's shape-shifting powers. Liam's friends have other powers. His best friend Drew is a teleporter, and so he can teleport. And his girlfriend is, what is she? Oh, mind reader.
Mm,
So the alien can both read minds, teleport, and is immortal, has all of those powers. And anyway, he ends up taking over the world,
mm.
uh, and destroying it ultimately. So you know, they have to try to stop him.
Exactly. The stakes are high and he must be stopped. Tell me a little bit about your love of sci-fi. Is this something you've always had? Is it something you developed for the book, or what are your influences? Tell me about
Always,
that.
always. From the time I was a little kid, I've always loved science fiction or fantasy, whatever you want to call it. Um, uh, I guess the difference between science fiction and fantasy is that science fiction, I don't know.
Might
Uh,
be more plausibly explained in the future, and fantasy is more magical based.
I
Yeah.
guess. I mean, I threw a little space in there and space travel to, you know, that's the science fiction part of it, I guess. But
What are your influences? What are some of those sci-fi and fantasy works that you've really enjoyed that have impressed you?
well, Tolkien, of course.
Hmm.
More recently is a fantastic author, Brandon Sanderson.
Hmm.
And I actually did a few years ago, I did a cruise with Brandon Sanderson and a couple of other people from, he does uh, a podcast called, oh, what is it called? Anyway, he and his friends, they did a cruise. I did the cruise. I went and read and took some classes from them. So that
Definitely an influence there,
yeah,
having traveled with the author and taking classes. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
And then I decided I wanted to write a book. And to write a book, I was like, I didn't, my friends were like, well, what do you have to do to write a book? Do you need to take classes? I was like, well, I don't need to take classes. I got this. But the truth is, I went back to school and I got a master's degree in writing popular fiction. And
Mm,
that's so I live in the town where
hmm.
Stanford University is. And so everyone was like, you want to take classes at Stanford University? And no, they don't really have science fiction
Right.
literature at Stanford University. It's a little too highbrow for that, I guess. Anyway, so I went and took a writing popular fiction um uh program at Seton Hill University
Hmm.
in, back East Coast in um, near in Greensburg, Pennsylvania,
Very cool.
Pittsburgh. And so I
Did you
did
do
that
that remotely or in person?
low residency.
Okay.
That means that I spent maybe a couple weeks a
Hmm.
year there, and then the rest um, I did online virtually,
Online. Yep.
or um, we had like we would write things and then we would send it and it would get critiqued and by a group.
Sure.
Um,
Was
anyway,
this book your capstone project?
yes, which I
Wonderful.
assume mean it's the project that I wrote it to graduate. Yeah, that's how
Yeah.
I graduated.
Yeah. So that's wonderful that you not only wrote it, but now you've got it published. And what was the reaction from your professors when they read your book?
Well, they gave me good critiques, good
Yeah,
reviews.
good
They're
feedback.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
wonderful. Have you envisioned this all as a TV series or a movie or something like that? It seems like it's super visual and super imaginative for
I
that.
don't think that I have, but the group that I'm working with, which is the Author Reputation Press, which
Hmm.
is how I got this interview with you,
Hmm.
they are trying to do a um, movie, Hollywood movie,
Wow.
whatever. Uh,
Yeah.
there, so it's not something that I have personally
Right.
envisioned, but yes, my publicists are envisioning it for me,
That's
and it's
great. It'd be exciting, I'm sure, for you to see this brought to life on the screen with actors portraying the roles and, a creative director visualizing these scenes that you've written. I think it'd be quite a thrill, that's for sure.
that is for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there a moral lesson or, a message you'd like readers to take away from your book?
It's mainly about friendship and about um uh I don't know it's just it's about friendship, about doing right by your friends and doing good um with your friends, for your friends. Yeah,
Hmm.
because in my book, if you're immortal and you can travel in time, then basically there's no there's no right or wrong. What's
Hmm.
right and what's right is what you love, what you and your friends love is just showing up and taking care of the people in your life and taking care of people that are, you know, you're
Around
close
you, care
to.
about you,
Yeah,
a part of
that
your
you
life.
care. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
absolutely. Writing time travel can be tricky because obviously there's a lot to think about what might happen, where he's coming from, where he's headed, how this will impact the story, and is it feasible? Is it plausible? So that's quite a challenge, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I guess
Tell
what
me how you dealt with that challenge and tackled it. Did you think back to the future a little bit and what they did, or
um I think it's a um uh how did I tackle it? Well, I mean, basically, if I go back to writing about relationships, writing about friendships, and so I need to stay focused on that and not get too out there.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah. The mass killing at the camp is kind of like a modern day twist, a phenomenon that only has been around, a
I
few
know,
decades. Yeah.
I know. I'm from Colorado, so it started with Columbine.
Yeah.
It was kind of a scary thing to write about. I
Hmm.
was, I don't think if this is going to be okay to write about. I think people are going to have a hard time with this
Right.
because it is a real serious issue, and there are people that have really been hurt by mass killing, mass
Yeah.
murdering. So I was a little afraid to write about it.
Yeah. But you did, and it was difficult to write, thinking about the bloodshed and all that.
Well, and it's fantasy, so you can make whatever you want to have happen. So I mean, we go back in time and
Right.
revisit the mass murder a few times, and we have different endings a few
Right.
times. So it all turns out. I mean, that's part of the reason why I like to write young adult. It's for
Hmm.
young. It's not gritty. It's not like, Breaking Bad, which is what I'm watching right now, which is see, it's more
Yeah.
about Harry, it's more like Harry Potter, where everything turns out okay.
Yeah. Who was your first reader? I mean, I guess maybe your professors, but when you finished the book outside of school, who did you give it to and say, hey, what do you think of this?
My well, I want to say son Tyler except
Mhm.
that Tyler has undergone a gender transition recently
Mhm.
and is now a she.
Mhm.
So I really say my son, my child, Tyler, who
Mhm.
which is really the age that I was aiming for, read the whole book and he loved
Mm.
it. He
Great.
loved it. So
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, it's good. It's good you've got a target audience right in the household to help you do your writing and get some feedback and all of that. The characters grapple with the moral implications of having powers in situations of life and death. Tell us a little bit about how they navigate that.
um hmm. Yes, well, again, it's the same thing that goes back to who do you love and how do you be good to the people that you love. Um, yeah. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. You chose a camp setting. Were you a camper when you were younger? Is that why you chose this? Do you have memories of camp, or tell me about choosing that?
um, well, you know what I based it on was the Norway, the killing in Norway.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know how many years ago that was
probably
now.
about 10 years ago now.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more. Anyway, I chose it based on that. Um, I don't write a whole lot about the camp. And
Mhm.
actually, I don't really remember loving camp when I was a kid.
Right.
So, yeah, I,
Yeah.
d- I didn't spend a whole lot of time there in the book. I mean, we basically went to the killing part.
Right. Right. Yeah. Cut to the chase, as we say. Shape shifting alien is kind of an interesting antagonist. How did you come up with that idea?
Um, It's actually based on a TV show that I used to watch called Heroes. If anybody
Hmm.
remembers Heroes, the the villain in that one was shape shifting. I mean, and it's kind of scary because he can like be anyone. He can be who you love. He can be it can be tricky because he can
Mm.
be hiding or pretending and
And
so
blending in and being
yeah,
overlooked.
yeah,
And yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So I hate to say that because I copied it and I feel, you
Well, you
know,
didn't copy it, you borrowed it, you made it your own. I mean,
I
everybody does. Everybody stands on everybody else's shoulders and everything else they create. That's for sure. Yeah. So, shape-shifting alien, do you believe in aliens? Do you believe in extraterrestrials? Do you believe in special phenomenon? Do you believe in superpowers and abilities?
yeah, at some level I really do, but
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, especially because we're reading a lot about it in the news right now with all the trips to Mars and the trips to other planet. I mean, uh yeah, it's fantastical, that's for sure. Do I believe in it? I don't know. I mean, when I was a teenager, I woke up in the middle of the night and I thought there was an alien landing on my lawn,
Hmm.
but there wasn't.
As
I
far
mean,
as you know, unless your memory was erased or something, you never know.
who knows? Uh,
You never know. Are you working on any new books right now?
I am not. No,
Okay.
I'm not working on anything right now,
Okay.
which is nice. It's nice to be taking a break.
How long did it take you to write this book?
Well, probably from the time I got to writing it, 2 years. That's
Hmm.
how long I was in the program. But
Yeah.
if you count from the time that I thought that I wanted to write a book till the time that I actually wrote it, more like 10.
Right. So it
There
was percolating in your brain a
was
little bit
stuff
before you
going
actually
on.
started putting it down on paper.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically sounds like, what am I thinking about writing a novel? I can't write. Why am I even thinking about it?
Right. Right. Is there a favorite scene or part of the book that you really love that you wrote and you're like, wow, this is good. I really like how that came out.
Hmm. I don't know if I have something that I really like. Well, I mean, I have some kind of love scenes, like teenage love scenes,
Hmm.
like the first time, first kiss scenes, those kind of things. I kind of like
Yeah.
those.
They're a little
Um,
touching, a little romantic amidst all of the sci-fi that's happening around them. So it kind of grounds it in reality, I guess, because that's what teenagers do. They fall in love, they kiss, and stuff like that, despite what's happening around them in their world, right?
that's what I did when I was a teenager. So
Yeah.
yeah.
As a parent, did you observe Tyler while you were writing and wondering what Tyler would do, that kind of stuff in that situation?
Um, I I I did not observe.
Yeah.
No, but it is fun to watch them grow up and they're going to he's Tyler, she, remember,
Hmm.
gender gender transition. She
Hmm.
is going to school in New York City starting next year. So that's really exciting to watch.
Yeah.
And she's doing writing. She's decided to write. I think it means a lot to her that her mother wrote a book.
Yeah. Now she's obviously, in part at least, following in her mother's footsteps, which is very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. It's nice to have that kind of influence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going to the master's program and, creating this book as a capstone, was that helpful in giving you the structure you needed in order to get this from an idea in your head down to a
Yes.
PDF?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And part of it is that I do well in school. I do well when you give me assignments and I do them and then I get them done in time. I have a structure, I have a timeline when things are due. That's what makes me perform well.
Mm,
So yeah,
yeah.
that was absolutely um
And
critical.
did you outline the book first? Tell us a little bit about the
Yes,
writing
yeah.
process.
Yes, outline the book first. That's part of what we learned in the writing popular fiction is we do an outline and then we actually now that I think about it, I wrote a whole book before I even wrote this book. Like I wrote this book in another version and actually my son was recalling it the first time I wrote the book and then it changed a lot by the time I got to this version.
Gotcha.
Um,
So you had just written one on your own, free form,
yeah,
without
what
the structure of a program.
it's called the National Novel Writing Month, NaNoWriMo. It's
Hmm.
November National Novel Writing Month. So you
Hmm.
basically spend the whole month of November writing.
Hmm.
So I did that. That's when I wrote the first version of it. And then when I came to the point where I was needing to edit it and actually make it into a book, that's when I realized, hmm, I could probably use some help with this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's great. That's great. Well, you went to the right place. Like I said, they were able to bring your vision to fruition and take it from a draft to an actual published book. Tell us a little bit about your life. What kind of work do you do when you're not writing, and what life is like there in sunny California?
Well, my husband and I own a construction company. We
Hmm.
build houses for people. So
Wonderful.
that's what my life is like
That
building.
that sounds great. That sounds
I
great.
don't do the actual building, but I do the
Right.
business part of it.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Sounds great. Well, the name of the book is one that you won't want to put down. It is I Am Not the Moon Lake Camp Killer. It is written by Tambi Harwood. It is an exciting tale of a 17-year-old named Liam and his friends who unearth unexpected powers after a meteor discovery at their summer camp. It's a wonderful tale. Parts will surprise you, parts might even shock you. Lots of it will capture your imagination, and some of it will touch your heart. It is highly recommended. Tambi, anything you'd like the audience to know today before we leave you?
No, thank you, Logan.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.